Open houses. As we've said, there's two purposes for having open houses. To market the listing and find the right buyers, because certainly that is a service that you're doing for the sellers when you have a house listed. But also it's a great source of prospecting, both for sellers and for buyers. And this does require immediate follow-up. What do we mean by that? On Sunday afternoon, if you're having an open house, then you have gathered information from these buyers or these prospective buyers, the prospective sellers, they might be too. You have gathered information about how to contact them. Is it by email? Is it by U.S. mail? Whatever the case may be, follow up. Maybe you go home that night and write a little note or write an email. And if not then, on Monday morning, you're going to sit down and do that. Because it's a follow-up right here that is going to show the prospective buyer that came into your open house that you really care and that you are professional in your business, and there is going to be follow-up always. Follow-up is one of the reasons, or lack of follow-up is one of the reasons that a lot of people do not find themselves successful in the business. Opportunity time, we've talked about that. But opportunity time, or up next as some offices might call it, is being in the right place at the right time. So avail yourself of taking as much opportunity time as you possibly can to answer incoming calls at your office. Now certainly you are going to be finding that you're setting up appointments for a lot of other agents' listings, but you're also availing yourself of being there in that right place at the right time when some sellers are calling in or some buyers that are not connected with any real estate agent, and those are your prospects that you can pick up right there. During office hours, take as much opportunity time as you possibly can. When the calendar is passed around in your office, however the situation may be in your office, take that opportunity time and then be willing to fill in for other people who might have opportunity time scheduled and cannot meet that schedule for one reason or the other. Think about before or after office hours, because you know buyers and sellers don't look at the clock when they want to call an office about selling their house or buying a house. What they're doing is it hits their mind that they want to call, and they call. Now, many of your offices don't have OT time until 9 o'clock in the morning. But do all buyers and sellers wait until 9 o'clock to call? No. So think about it. Be available to be there to answer the telephone before or after hours, and even on days when the office is not officially open. I have to think about one person that I know that was single and had no lack of responsibility to family, or so he had some extra time on his hand, and he would come into the office sometimes on holidays later in the afternoon, or on Saturdays or Sundays after the OT time was over. And he would, or either before OT time started, and he would just be there, and the telephone would ring, and many times he has picked up prospective buyers and prospective sellers. So there's an opportunity time for you, and it doesn't have to be just the scheduled opportunity time that your office has, but being available at other times of the day to answer the telephone. Every call that comes in is a potential seller or buyer. Think about it. Why did they call? Many times to eliminate this one house advertised, for there are so many that are advertised. So they're thinking about process of elimination. Did they hear what they wanted to hear to eliminate that particular listing that they called about? Now, when we talk about listings, we're talking about buyer prospects. And I know that we're focusing today on seller prospects that are actually going to give us an opportunity to do listing presentations to them. But as we have mentioned, most every buyer prospect is also a seller prospect, because many people do have houses to sell before they can buy. But this person that called in, did they get all of their questions answered? Or did they hang up the telephone? And why? Why did they hang up the telephone? Let's think about that a little bit. The caller calls about a property, and you have a very short time to start to build rapport and make them really want to do business with you. Some statistics show, as I heard this morning, even 3 seconds. Others say 7 seconds. And then one report that I saw said that you have 10 seconds to gain their interest, to really show them that you are wanting to work with them, that you have their interest at heart. So giving information and gaining information is what we're trying to do right here. Fair exchange. Now, we asked a little earlier, why do some people answer, when you answer the telephone, why do they hang up after they have gotten their question answered? Well, they are calling to eliminate a lot of the prospective listings that are available in many cases. So think about this. They ask, does this house that you have an ad in the paper about, does that house actually have a large yard? Well, with maybe our way of thinking, they want a large yard. Is that really what they wanted to hear? And you proceed by looking at the desk, the information that you have on your desk, and you say, oh yes, this has about 1.5 acre lot. And then you go on and on and on, emphasizing all of this beautiful big lot that is 1.5 acres, because you heard, does it have a large yard? And already our mind plays tricks on us, and we think, oh yes, they do want a large yard. But we should answer their question with the question, are you looking for a large yard? No, the answer comes back to you. Oh, we have a large yard now, and I'm looking for a small yard that will be easily kept up, because we are interested in playing tennis and golf on the weekend, and we don't want to work in the yard all the time. Or maybe this is a middle-aged or older couple that is saying, we are just tired of doing all this big yard work. So we're looking for something that is a very nice house, but on a small lot. So you have gained a lot of information by asking a question in answer to their question. And then my answer to them would be, well, this particular house that you called about would not be the one for you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, because of the fact that it does have a very large yard. But let me tell you about, and then that's when you can go ahead and tell them about this beautiful garden home section that has some very nice houses that would be close by to that neighborhood that they called about, and then also would have a small yard so that they could keep it up very easily. And with a lot of our neighborhoods, it could be that the yard is maintained by the homeowners association. So think about that too. Giving information and gaining information is really fair exchange, and that's what we're aiming for. And then we will find that they do not hang up on us so easily, because we have found out right away that they're not interested in that yard, a large yard, and therefore we're going to give them something that they can be interested in. Now, a seller is found. Let's talk about selling skills and how they are to be applied. We need to gather as much information as we possibly can before going on a listing appointment. And how are we going to do that? Let's look at that. Think about in setting up a listing appointment, it's a very important skill. And we need to really understand about this seller as much as we can. We need to understand what their needs are. What is their motivation for wanting to sell their property? Who are they anyway? Do they really have motivation? If they don't have motivation, then I think that this is a listing that you do not even want to waste your time on. Because if they're not motivated, you will not get it priced right, and you will not have the cooperation with the sellers putting the house in very pretty condition. So think about an appointment. Now, in planning out your schedule, a bona fide listing appointment is really going to take about 2 hours. Some people say that they can do it much shorter than that. And that is true if you have already built rapport and you really know these people well. But if this is someone where you've got to have the time to build rapport, to chit-chat, answer a lot of questions, then you're going to have at least a 2-hour window in order to go on this listing appointment. One of the things that we want to think about too is we need that all decision makers should be present. Now, why is that? We'll talk about that. We need enough information to really prepare a competitive market analysis. And we need to know, if at all possible, how much they would like to have out of their house. What would they like to see it sell for? How much equity do they need out of their house? Let's think about this. So in setting up this listing appointment, they tell us, well, could you come over this afternoon? Well, always give them a choice. Yes, I'll be happy to. Would 3 o'clock this afternoon be okay with you? Or would 6 be better for you? So you're giving them a choice of time. And they're going to say, well, no, 3 is not too good, but 6, well, 6 is not too good either. But what about coming at 7 o'clock? So you're going to find that they sometimes will not accept either one of those times that you've given them, but you've given them a choice. We don't want to ever ask any question or where we will get just a flat no answer. Would 3 o'clock this afternoon be okay? No. You see the difference there. And we need to keep them talking there. And they make the choice. So when they say that we can come over, don't get off the telephone until you've gotten enough information to do a one-stop listing.